is one of their targets, and of course George Kittle, the tight end. Garoppolo didn't throw many attempts. I believe it was 8, if I remember right, against the Packers, and they had to rely. And he was really basically relegated to being a game manager. Do you think that Garoppolo has to throw the football 20 to 25 times to try to, so you have a little bit more separation score-wise early so that the running game and the passing game become more balanced? How many attempts do you think he needs?
If they're able to run the ball, they might only be able to have it 10 times thrown, and they've already shown that last week. I mean, if they can do what they did last week again, that's easier said than done. But, I mean, 15 times, they might not even be able to throw it 10 times, because of that blocking. They have such great run blockers up front. So it's going to matter about that. And if Kansas City can just hold them to under 100 yards rushing and make Jimmy Garoppolo throw the ball, I think Kansas City has a good chance because with Tyrann Mathieu back there, and also Frank Clark, and he's also Chiefs best defensive end on their team. So, and he can get the quarterback. So, being a Michigan guy, played in Washington College with Seattle, so it's going to be interesting to see. But as far as throwing the ball, it's going to be on Kansas City's run defense. Can they stop their run? If they can just hold them, to answer your question, that's it. Garoppolo, he put a lot on his shoulders.
So tell me, what are some of your favorite Super Bowl memories through the years about plays that stand out? We got another 5 or 7 minutes to go. Do you have any things that stand out in past Super Bowls? And I'm sure that you're well aware of that the first time the 49ers won the Super Bowl was at the Pontiac Silverdome, Super Bowl 16. First game ever in a cold weather climate.
They beat Cincinnati Bengals.
Right.
Yeah, they was Chris Collinsworth and Ken Anderson, and it was it's one of the most historic Super Bowls. It was a close game, and it was also a close game. Was it back in '89? So Montana won 2 against the Bengals, and ended up winning 4 in total. I'd say growing up, Dallas and San Francisco was always there in the mid '90s. Finally San Francisco kind of took that reign about '94. So I remember watching those Super Bowls and just how great Steve Young was, and he came up and how he came along. So and Dallas running the football, and you're talking about running the football now. It's all sorry about that. It's all about running the football, Scott. In these playoffs, when you look at Derrick Henry able to run the football, Seattle's been a running football team, and usually are the best 8-12 teams that make the playoffs on both sides. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Candy, anything you want to add to it?
Well, obviously, me being a Packer fan, the Packer wins and the Packer losses kind of stand out for me. Obviously, the Patriots have had kind of a dynasty for a while here. Kind of glad to see them not in there. Let some other teams. I would say this year, out of most all of the other years I've watched, had the most parity in all the games leading up to this Super Bowl. We've seen some big blowouts in previous years in some of the divisional or championship or early rounds, but I think this one was the most parity, the best games. How about you, Scott?
Well, again, I think the Packers went as far as they could with what they had to work with. The lack of an efficient, consistent passing game may have doomed them in the NFC Championship game, but they proved that ball control certainly keeps you in games, and when you have ball control, you can win those close-scoring games. But again, the lack of a passing game and the inability to establish consistency in the air may have led to them. And the one thing, let's not lose sight of the fact that you don't spot a team like the 49ers 27-0 and be in the hole early, because then you're playing catch-up and it disrupts the game plan. So, I've covered 4 Super Bowls, and I can tell you right now, I've enjoyed every one. from Elway's final game to seeing Tom Brady win one to seeing Drew Brees take out Peyton Manning, and of course the memorable game when the Cardinals and the Steelers played, James Harrison's 100-yard reception. So I've had a lot of good ones. Being the fort I was at, there always greatness there tied to it.
That was a great memory. I'm glad you brought that up. 100 yards at the end of the half.
It was amazing when I watched it too. I mean, I'm sitting there in the press box looking at this thing, geez, this guy James Harrison is running at 100 yards from end zone to end zone. It was just truly remarkable to be a part of that.
What about Desmond Howard for the Packers?
Well, we know you were going to come up with that one, but yeah, no, it's true though. No, I mean,
one of my favorite, I just want to add it, was the Titans Rams of '99, and I watched that right at the end when Mike Jones made that tackle, and I was like, I thought he was going to get in, and he just stopped him right at the half-yard line. And that, just like this year with the Seattle game against San Fran, stopped them right at the 1-yard line. And I did a report on that for the Tribune as well. And it's been a great playoff so far.
Okay. All right. Any final thoughts about this, Jason?
Back to you, my friend. I'm looking forward to a great game, and I appreciate you always having me on. Thank you as always.
It's definitely our pleasure, Jason. Thanks for being on the Sports Exchange. Have a good weekend.
Yes, sir. You too.
Thank you, Jason.
All right, so Candy, what do you want to add to what we've already talked about?
Well, I'd just like to remind everybody, you can find Jason on SouthFloridaTribune.com. He's one of the columnists for us. We have a lot of other columnists. If you're looking for information on baseball, football, we have lots of contributors that help build that platform. Again, that was www.southfloridatribune.com. You can find all of our podcasts there. You can find our podcast on iHeartRadio, Apple Play, Google Play, Spotify. Listen to them. We have some very interesting topics. They range from, we have a show called The Real and the Rare, which does all kinds of different topics. We have South Florida Tribune podcast. We have the Sports Exchange, which obviously we're doing a special edition today. And we have 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. And we have Wild Bill and Motormouth. I wonder who that is. And they talk about a lot of different topics too. So check us out. Don't be shy. And we welcome your opinions too.
Yeah, we do have a really nice balance of shows on the network. And I think that's really something that's really encouraging. Rudy Reyes and I do a pretty good show as well.
Right. I forgot about
Rude
that
Dog and Motormouth, and Rudy's a really, not only become a good friend and colleague, but here's a guy who is a social media magnet. And this guy, I've never seen anything like him, but he's certainly been a big part of the development as well here. So
What is our Twitter handle? I can't even say it. Twitter handle.
Well, at Tribune South is how you can reach us that way. So, we're trying to mix things up. The South Florida Tribune podcast is one that we can look forward to bringing a lot of the people in the South Florida area. Our studio is based out of Coral Springs, Florida, so naturally a lot of the individuals for whom I work with are right here in town. And it's really great as you have the opportunity to develop a lot of different platforms simultaneously, because not everybody is into sports, but the Sports Exchange, without a doubt, is our national broadcast that can be heard around the country on the various production platforms that we're affiliated with. So, it's really a treat, Candy, to have you on the program. It really is. I think the one thing that has to be understood is the incredible work that you do developing the website. To me, is unbelievable, and the production part that you do when it comes to producing the shows. These are some of the things that tend to really go ahead and get overlooked a little bit. And I want to just say it's an absolute pleasure to have you alongside of me today. The work that you do is so appreciated. It's just completely, ridiculously awesome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I have to give my shouts out to you and to Lewis for getting the writers and getting the contributors that are sending us the material. All I do is slap it up on a website. You guys do the hard, dirty work, getting all the people, getting all the lineups, getting everybody to contribute, to write, to send us material, to come on the broadcasting side and talk to us.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I think we're trying to build a platform that is really universal, and that's what we're trying to do. And I think that that's the most enjoyable part of this entire challenge is being able to find the right players that are able to come on when they want to come on and keep it real. And one thing I'm going to be doing the real and the rare you talk about, had a great show with Xavier McKnight, and he's a guy that I found out of nowhere when Miami took on Savannah State about a year and a half ago, and one of the young broadcasters. He works out of Sarasota, Bradenton area. And I think that's important that we develop young talent to go along with a lot of the established people as well. That's what makes it such an unbelievable experience. And again, I've got a lot of things that I'm working on right now, and I think what really drives me is really, really important to just continue to see lots of people develop, and as well as the established people as well. So, it's really neat that we're able to get some things done that way.
That's good. No, it's a pleasure. It's fun. I've never developed a website before, so it's broadening my horizons and expanding my knowledge. And I welcome the challenge, although sometimes I get frustrated, and I'll admit that. But I think everybody does when you're learning something new and a new craft.
Yeah, well, like anything else, all we can hope for is that as you continue to do this thing, then it's really vitally important that, you become better at it. And I think you've definitely proven that you can do that for sure. And it's obvious. It's pretty obvious.
So, Scott, you've covered 4 different Super Bowls before. Which would you say was your favorite Super Bowl?
Oh, that's a tough question.
I don't ask easy ones all the time.
I know. I'm with you. Well, I don't know. The first one, I think, is definitely one that we're trying to focus on. So, Super Bowl 33 here in Miami. People wonder about my Super Bowl 33 is the one that stands out. So, meanwhile, we have our next guest on the line. And am I speaking with Mr. Alan Bornstein?
You are speaking with Mr. Alan Bornstein, yes.
Glad to have Alan Bornstein, folks, is a friend of the Sports Exchange as well as some of our other shows. And Al, you're on the air with Candy Ebling and myself. How you doing, Al?
Hi, Al.
I'm good. How are you and Candace doing?
Well, we're doing fantastic. Glad to have you on the program. And Al has been a friend of the show for quite a while, and there's no better opportunity to bring him on than as we lead up to the Super Bowl. So, Al, we're looking forward to celebrating the Super Bowl with you a week from tomorrow, but we have some business to take care of at the moment. All right?
Sure, let's go.
Why don't you go ahead and promote your current company, and then I'll get to the hard-nosed stuff, because it's not going to get easy with you over the next 20, 25 minutes. You'll develop an appreciation of what you're dealing with right now.
I'm excited to try this.
That's okay. Good stuff. Just make sure you talk it up after it's all said and done. So talk about where you, who you represent and what do you do.
So I'm the owner of a little payroll company called Work Group Payroll, and we actually do it all over the country, and we provide insurance services and payroll, and we're about 40% less expensive than most of the competitors with a much higher level of service. So, yes, we are the Tiffany's of payroll at the Walmart price.
Nice. I like that. That was a good analogy there, Al.
Oh, he's full of them. When it comes to payroll and insurance. But,
yes.
So with that,
pretty simple.
Well, with that said, okay, let's get on to the business at hand, Al. Let's talk about the Boston Red Sox controversy involving the dismissal of Alex Cora and the inner workings of whether that 2018 championship was tainted, since they started off well, ended well. What are your observations about what transpired with the Boston Red Sox, knowing now that they are looking for a new manager? Dave Dombrowski was sent packing a while back. They spent a lot of money, and now a lot of veteran contracts have now actually, they could bite them at some point, whether Mookie Betts is going to be into a one-year contract or whether they're going to get long-term. What's your opinion on the Red Sox?
You know, you've asked me like 7 questions.
Exactly.
Right?
Don't worry.